I have a question for you. With your body, are you in shape? Right there, your answer. That knee-jerk answer is your truth. It is your truth. If you answered that question, I don't think I'm in shape. I don't think it's. Next question is why? Why aren't you in shape? What's been happening? See, what it turns out is that a lot of us could use a little bit more exercise in our life, a little bit more fitness. And this episode is designed to teach you how to make it easy, how to make it doable, and to take you to your success with your body. Because I want you to look in that mirror and be like, you know what? I look good. This is the black and white truth on exercise. All it takes is the courage to be ourselves unapologetically. We are here with the black and white truth on exercise. And I'm the kind of person where whenever I want to focus on something, whatever message you want to give you guys, I'm always focused on the best of the best of the best. And so today we have Kafren Zakba, who is a personal trainer, one of the top personal trainers here in Kansas City, completely transformed his body, his life. I'll let him tell your story more than me, but I have to say that this is the guy that if any of you are struggling with exercise or getting in shape, anything of that nature, this is the guy who literally can help you, take you straight there. You know, he's like the Moses of it, you know what I'm saying? The Moses taking people to freedom in their body. So please introduce yourself.
I'm honored of the praises, first and foremost, Alan. My name is Kafren Zakba. Like Alan introduced myself, I am a coach. I'm the founder of Elevate You. It's a platform where I help, folks, entrepreneurs, high performers really get the best out of their health and fitness. And I focus on the three tenets, right? Fitness, nutrition, mindset. I think those three combine well together and deliver the best results, right? Not sure how far you want me to go into my past, but yeah, that's a brief little narrative about me.
That's what's up. That's what's up. We'll talk about the past in a little bit.
Let's do it.
So one of the questions that come up for me though is why do so many people struggle with exercise and fitness, and why do people struggle with that?
Gotcha. Right in the deep end, man. Why do people struggle with exercise and fitness is your question, right? So I would say it's a multitude of different things, right? So for one, and this is why I talk about mindset a whole lot, right? Because it stems from what I believe and what I've noticed amongst clients and people who I work with. It's a belief about yourself, right? It's a belief about yourself, but also your social conditioning growing up, right? It's more of a mental thing rather than say, oh, I struggle to do a bench press or I struggle to do a lunge, right? You find often that people have a hard time associating themselves with fitness or creating that identity where it's like, all right, this is a part of who I am, right? And quite frankly, it traces back to like their upbringings, right? Where was fitness made a priority? Was health addressed? Where these conversations had? And if it's not the case, it's more likely this individual will, have a hard time, right? And on the other hand, there are people who maybe went through their childhood, right? Playing sports, getting active and so forth. And then life happens, right? Now all of a sudden you're working, you have family, your kids, and you deviated so far from your compass that it becomes this foreign thing that can feel overwhelming to get back into, right? So I'm not sure how well I answer your question, but it's to say that it's multifaceted, right? There's no one answer. It depends on what's your starting point and who you are, what I would say.
So what you're saying is that people don't identify as a person that works out. It's more about identity than it is working out.
100%.
Okay.
Well, and this is what I've come to find out, right? And this is what I preach to my clients because, actions with themselves are just actions, right? I can go to the gym once a week, right? Or once every month. Doesn't mean, I'm going to get the results that I want, right? Those are just independent actions, right? And the reason why I make it a point to make it an identity is because then it becomes a sustainable thing, right? Because, there's like the actions come underneath the umbrella of identity, right? And to give you an example, say someone works in, real estate, right? That's their identity. They're a real estate professional. Real estate, that's their identity, right? It's part of their identity. underneath that umbrella comes certain set of actions. Okay, I have to sell houses, right? I have to find leads, right? I have to do X, Y, and Z, right? And even something as simple as like even say being a dad, right? That comes with I have to look after my kids. I have to feed my kids, right? I have to do X, Y, and Z. And so people transition across their lives and they adopt different identities, but one of them which doesn't happen often is the health and fitness thing, right? That's like, it's the back burner, right? It's uncomfortable, right? Because it is an intimate part of people's lives, right? These are insecurities we're talking about as well, right? So I feel like it's more comfortable to push that to the back burner because this whole time life is also coming at you in real time, right? But yeah, 100%. I do believe it's an identity
That's
thing.
something. I think that's true. I think a lot of people do identify themselves as I don't work out. I don't get in shape. I'm lazy.
I'm consciously someone who doesn't work out. It's just I never took the time to go through that mental switch of I am someone who works out. Right?
Yep.
It's just left into the abyss and waiting for them to grab onto that, right? And they don't take the time to like, life is moving fast, man. And I don't blame people, right? I don't like, you're in high school, then boom, life comes at you fast, right? So people never take the time to like slow down and evaluate who they want to be and how they want to, expand. Or if they do, it's often something that maybe they don't see as possible to achieve, right? So it's just like, it would be nice, but it's not realistic, right?
Yeah.
People love to say that it's not realistic.
Not realistic.
I don't have time,
Yeah. So it's more like an access of power that people aren't claiming.
That's powerful right there, what you
Yeah.
just said. Say that one more time and say it to the kid.
It's an access of power that people are not claiming.
Absolutely, 100%. I couldn't have even said that better. 100%.
Wow.
An access of power that people are not claiming. I like that a lot.
Yeah. That's what how it occurred to me. I
100%.
definitely believe in that. I think that we all have an abundant well underneath us all that we have access to. We're just not claiming it. We're not playing the lottery ticket, know, and
playing small.
We're playing small, right? And the thing I've realized is that it takes the same amount of effort to play small than it does to play big. It's the same steps. It's either a step towards a small mountain or the big mountain.
For sure.
And I think that's it. So what are some like mountains that you've encountered, and in your journey, maybe even your past a little bit, tell us about that.
Man, I've had so many different mountains along my way, right? From moving to the United States when I was 17, right? That was a big mountain within itself, right? I moved here by myself, with my little brother actually, so left my parents, left the nest, so to speak. A whole new world, right? So originally I'm from Côte d'Ivoire, West Africa, right? And I grew up with my family, right? I'm a very strong family-oriented person due to my bringings, right? It was always me, my dad, my sister, my brothers, my mom, right? And so to leave that environment and to come to this complete whole new world without that unit to support me behind me was extremely tough, right? It took a lot of adapting. So that was a mountain within itself, right? And there's so many more like this that I can list, right? There's so many instances where I was uncomfortable and had to get over a mountain. I mean, if we're talking about I'm not sure if you want to talk about mountains within fitness or just my life.
Whatever comes up.
That's one I can think of. Fitness-wise, right? My whole story, my whole mountain with my fitness journey it traces back to that experience of coming here when I was 17, right? For one, I don't know what they feed you guys here, but everyone was like, super, everyone was like, I felt like I was behind, right? I was still going through puberty, agony all over my face, right? And I see people with like full-grown beards, right? Guys who play football, they're jacked, right? I felt I looked like a child, right, so to speak. And that was the first time I experienced insecurities, right, in my physical appearance. Up till this point in my life, I was just a kid, right? Just moving through life, right? And so I moved here at 17, my senior year of high school, and seeing that difference of like, oh wow, they look so different than I do, and I'm like the odd one out, right? I had a very thick African accent, so I stood out very easily. And so when I graduated high school, so that was my last year, it was that year was rough, right? That first year experience was rough. So like when I graduated and I moved to college, I told myself like, all right, I want to reinvent myself physically, right? I don't ever want to have to feel like this where I'm insecure, I'm afraid to talk to people, I'm hiding behind my clothes, and I'm just not operating my best self, right? I was so fragile, right? And so that's when I really got into the idea of, ooh, I can hit the weights and maybe change my physical appearance, right?
Mm-hmm.
During that time, I also saw my older brother transform himself, right? You know, he went from being overweight to like, he came for the holidays and he has like a whole six pack. I'm like, damn, like that's possible, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think I had the advantage of seeing that it was possible through my brother, right? But yeah, and then I really got really passionate about fixing my insecurities. Well, I don't think you can fix your insecurities, but at least lessen them through my own achievements via fitness, right?
So fitness was an avenue for you to better yourself
Hundred
in
percent,
every way.
100%, 100%. First year I was going, first couple of years actually, I used to call it my temple, right? And I'm a big man of faith. I know you are, Alan. You know, in a lot of ways, for me, I found God in the gym first and foremost, right? Because I was like facing myself and facing this. It's I wouldn't know how to put it to words, right? But I used to call the gym my temple, right? Because it's just like all in your breathing, all in your presence, all in your essence at the gym. If you do it right, it can very much so be a spiritual endeavor. At least it has been for me. But yeah,
Wow.
it was.
I think that's worth like really pausing on. Is that for you? It wasn't a making yourself go to the gym. It wasn't a I got to do this. It was a spiritual home for you.
100%, 100%.
It was your God place.
It was my God place, man. It was my God place.
It is your God place.
Well, I mean, it's shifted, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that kid anymore, right? Now
Yeah.
represents something different. Now it's work for me, right? In the sense that I associate it with my career, my business, and what I'm doing. So it's not the same. Um, you know, it doesn't play that same role in my life that it did.
Yeah.
But like that's how it started off, right?
Evolved.
It's evolved. Yeah, it's
That
evolved.
is amazing. That is
Yeah.
amazing. You know. So what would you say to the guy that really wants that? You know, what would you say to the guy that or the girl that looks in the mirror, sees their body, and they're just not pleased with it. They have an idea of what they want to look like, right? And they see everyone else doing it, everyone else in shape. But what would you say from someone that's at ground zero?
Sure.
For them to get started and really start this journey of loving their body again. It's really what it's about, loving their body again.
So what I will say is the same thing that I'll say to anyone, even when it comes to, like I said, I work with a lot of like high performers, so like even business related. But it starts with your vision, right? At the root of it, it starts with where do you want to take your life and what that vision looks like, right? Who does Alan want to be 3 months, 3 years, 30 years from now, right? Having that vision as a goal for what's going to be the destination. Because once you get clear, and the clearer you can get about that, the clearer about the type of life you want to live, what you want to communicate to the world when you step out, the clearer you can get about those things, the easier it is to take the actions in the now, right? Because now you're not just like, oh, I'm gonna start a 30-day workout plan or a 30-day challenge, right? Because then you're coming back to a place of just action, right? It's like, what do those 30-day workouts mean, right? You have to attribute meaning to the actions that you're taking. And so if you're someone that's struggling to say, get started with your fitness journey, you're struggling and you find yourself going a week in, 2 weeks in, and you stop, I would encourage you to, before taking any actions, take that time of self-reflection. Who do I want to be? What do I want to communicate to the world when I step in? And that is the most powerful thing you can do for yourself, right? Having a vision for who you're going to be tomorrow will guide you today.
Wow. Powerful. Amen. I can feel that in my soul, man. I feel that. I'm like, thinking, who do I want to be, man? That is something. So why'd you do that, man? We was at a pool party.
Right.
And they was playing tug of war, and the loser had to get thrown in the water, right? The loser got pulled into the water. So there's this one guy, this guy had to be like 7 foot tall, pulling everybody in.
Right.
And then you came, he's pulling you, and you just yanked him in. You know, why you have to do him like that? why you have to?
It's you, right? You challenged me, right? I was chilling.
I don't think you would embarrass that man like that, though. I didn't think you would have been. This man just gonna yank him into the water. And he's like, his girlfriend out there. He bears in front of his girlfriend.
Hey, man, I hit the gym. You know, what can I say?
That's what's up. That's what's up. You know, so I guess there are some good side effects, some good
100%.
benefits of being in shape.
Man,
what are
so
the benefits about being like in that solid shape?
So many, man. And I think people don't take the time to understand the benefits, right? But man, it's changed my life personally, like drastically, completely 360, right? So let's start from a place of confidence first and foremost, right? Not confidence in, oh, I look good, you know, look at me, I'm sexy, but confidence in, like, I achieved this, right? I went from point A to B. Any level of achievement that takes work and discipline to achieve completely transforms you from the inside out, right? So the one benefit there that's easy to spot out is just the degree of confidence that you have. You walk different, right? You have a swagger to yourself. Your head is up, right? You stand up taller, not because you feel like you're better than others, but because you know I put in work, right? There's no one that can take that away from me. This is not a materialistic possession. This is me, right? It's a within experience. So self-confidence foremost, right? And then obviously the looks, right? And the looks in that for me, it's also, and it's not just because I'm a fitness coach, but like it's also open doors, right? Because it's a conversation starter, right? When I walk in rooms, you know, it's people can easily create rapport or conversation with me based on how I look, right? They'd be like, oh, you look like you work out, right? Boom, now we're having a conversation. I'm learning about his wife. I'm learning about his family. I'm learning about where he's from, right? Because he saw something in me that maybe he identified in, right? But something in me that sparked the conversation, right? I'll have people come to me like that all the time, right? Where it's like, oh, I could use you as a coach. Turns out I'm a coach, bro.
Yeah, but, we can get to work if you want.
Right.
Right. We can get to work.
You know, like last weekend I went to Illinois for a conference, right? It was like a tax course. And the guest speaker, right? I went up to him and I was like, I had questions for my business, how I can like leverage taxes. And the first thing he pointed out was like, wow, you look like you work out, man. I could use some help. And I'm like, funny enough, you know, the business I'm referring to, you know, I'm the founder of Elevate You. It's a whole fitness and diet thing, right? So people recognize that about you, right? If you put work in yourself, people recognize about you. And I think that gives you extra points, right? In a social setting, because like, wow, this is someone who, his appearance, and he takes care of himself, right? He's a hard worker, right? Off the bat, I can see that he has discipline. So that is another benefit.
Sounds like the benefits are endless. It sounds
Man,
like
endless.
it's endless. There's so many.
I could go on and on about this, right? It's extremely powerful. It's extremely powerful. And quite honestly, I feel like that's why once people get past that nervousness point, or they get past that first month, second month, and they start to feel some of those benefits, it can easily become addicting, right? Easily, right? There's nothing like it, right? What else can you pinpoint, you know, that has such an effect on you, both inside and outside, right? Again, like I said, I'm a man of faith, so God is itself is powerful, right? And that's an experience within, and I don't want to take that from anyone, right? And that's extremely powerful. You know, that's number one in my life. But then, in very close second, there's, you know, this fitness thing, right? Because now I'm working on myself both inside and, you know, it's materializing itself physically, right? I look different as a result. I feel different, right? To me, at least, there hasn't been anything quite like it yet.
Yeah. Wow. So what I'm hearing is it's worth it.
100%.
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's the little actions. It's the small little steps. So whatever it takes, I love that so much.
Yeah.
That I think is you're giving people hope, man. You're giving people hope, because I go to a lot of networking events, I go to a lot of business events,
Sure.
you know, and I see you there a lot, but I notice when people are talking to you, they have this energy of like, this guy is like, he's in shape, he's respectable, he's honorable, and he's a nice guy, and he's genuine, right? Like I see so many people that, you know, they show off everywhere they go, you know, they yell at the gym and they're using it as a way to say I'm better than people. And I get you as utilizing it as a way that says like, I've gotten here, you can come here with too. And I can help you get there if you want.
For sure. And I want to add to something right? Because for those of you guys watching, Alan made me wear the tank top, right? I'm not someone who's like, and that's why I say it's such a personal thing, right? Because I'm not someone who I mean, on social media, it's the social media game, right? But in real life, in the real world, I'm very much so, you know, humble about what I've achieved physically.
Oh, right? I know. He would have came here in a sweater and a hoodie, you know, and I'm like, people got to see that you actually, you practice what you preach, right?
No, I get it, you know. And again, to a point, talking about benefit, it's a symbol, right?
Yes.
But I say this to say this. You were talking about, you know, at networking events, I'm respectable and I'm, you know, the way I conduct myself, right? Well, I got that discipline from the gym, right? Because I feel like a lot of the people who you see are showboating, right? Maybe they weren't about this process from an ego standpoint, where it's just like, it was an ego-driven goal, right? So now they're stuck in ego land, where it's like, look at me, you know, I'm jacked and X, Y, and Z. And it's like the same way, you know, someone who filled his cup with, you know, financial success, not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm pursuing that myself, right? You know, they can hide their insecurity behind the expensive watches, the expensive cars, the X, Y, and Z. And all those things are great. I want those things, right? I'm not saying anything towards those people, but it's easy to have a facade, right? And for me, fitness was never this thing about purely from an external standpoint. It was always like a tool for personal development as well, right?
It wasn't about status for you.
It wasn't about status. It was about reinventing myself, man. You know, like I was saying in the beginning, I went through, you know, I didn't feel like I was living up to my full potential. I wasn't operating at my best, so I wanted to experience that. I wanted to step into that.
That's what's up. So it started off as just a journey of just you with yourself, just wanting to better yourself and inspiration.
Yeah.
That's it, man. Well, we're running on time, man, but I just want to say I really appreciate you coming out here.
For sure, man.
And I really appreciate you coming out here. And how can people connect with you? What are the best ways to connect with you? If people want to maybe talk with you or work with you or anything of that nature.
For sure. So on social media, of course, right, you can find me at the Coach KZ, right? And the at is just like and I say this because you thought it was like at, like AT, but no, the whatever that symbol is, right?
The circle A.
The circle A at the Coach KZ, right? THE Coach KZ. So K and then Z, my Z like Zion, right? So that's me on Instagram. You can catch me on Facebook, your friend Zakpa. And on both of those platforms, I'm very active. I post every day, right? Tips, perspectives, some of the things that I've personally went through. So those would be the best platforms to reach me at. Of course, if you catch me out in the Kansas City community, I'm happy to talk to you and say what's up, right? That's me, man.
That's it. So what I'm saying to all of you guys is prioritize your body, prioritize exercising. I feel like when we take the time to nurture our body and work our body and love our body, it shows, we feel it within and it also shows outside of us as well. We 100%. Radiate that success. You know, he's a living example that you can radiate that inner feeling that you have within yourself to the best version. And I got to say, you're definitely not that little kid that just got to America anymore.
I am not.
I've come a long way. Home, you know, home and grounded here. That's absolutely amazing.
For sure.
Know? So I love you guys so much. Thanks so much for joining us. And this has been the Black and White Truth on Telavita.